Making a video today discussing something that I saw on Instagram. We got bstrong.physio here. He put up a post, and it's kind of a mockery. You can see he's saying 60% of the time foam rolling works every time. We get it, Ron Burgundy, all that stuff. But he's pointing to a study that I'll get to in a second that it basically says that foam rolling or any type of foam rolling is inconclusive at best, or it's just going to provide a very small amount of relief. Okay. So he goes on to say foam rolling does not alter tissue quality, pliability, or release fascial adhesions. Now, if we're talking about a straight up foam roller, like the ones that you buy for $19 that are actual foam, okay, maybe I could see a little bit of credibility in that. Having said that, I still have melted adhesions, especially in my legs and my lower back, just through foam rolling alone. Okay, where you can literally feel the adhesion melt and your tissue sinks into the roller. So this has happened with me, with a whole bunch of my clients, with people that used to be in my gym. A lot of people have felt it. And because we can't study this, okay, like do a pre and a post op or something like that, the evidence is anecdotal at best. So I get it. All right. But I'm here to tell you that it is true. Okay. You can release adhesions with foam rollers. If you use a mobility ball, softball, baseball, lacrosse ball, or a bar, something harder, you're going to get an even better result. Okay. He said even if fascial adhesions existed and were a common cause of pain, squishing them with a roller wouldn't be a plausible way to release them. Yes, it is. So first, he's even denying that maybe adhesions don't exist. He's basically putting forth the notion in your mind that adhesions don't exist. Okay? In my mind, this is something that borders like malpractice. All right? I realize he's not a doctor, but to me, to be misleading the general public when, if we check out his bio, okay, empowering you to navigate healthcare misinformation and defeat your pain. Bro, you're basically misinforming people about what you think is misinformation. Okay? And I don't mean to be picking on this gentleman. When you look through his posts, he truly does care. You can tell, and he wants to help people. But a lot of this is what a very good friend of mine, Joel Green, considers to be baby talk. Okay? He's literally denying, something that I've felt over 1,000 times in other people's bodies: trigger points, adhesions, fibrosis. This is readily identifiable through touch. You don't need a 4 or a 10 or a $50,000 machine. You don't need a scalpel, okay? You don't need an electron microscope. You can palpate, put pressure into somebody's tissue, and feel that there is something aberrant going on with the pattern of the muscle. You can feel that this muscle tissue on one side of the back looks different and feels different than the other tissue on the other side of the back. Okay? So he says it does not alter the structure of tissues. 100% false. Right there. 100% false. Okay? Especially if you're using something harder, like I said, baseball, lacrosse ball, maybe a supernova from MWAD. Okay? If you're using a barbell to apply pressure on the quad or the calf, okay, it will. All right. So he goes on to say some stuff about what went on in the study and whatnot. And then he lightly says, so if you want a foam roll, go for it. But if you have someone telling you you need to foam roll, or that it downs something significant, I think he means does something significant, it may be beneficial to seek a second opinion or ask for some research to back up that advice. Okay. Now, even in this meta study that was done, there is no significant studies that we can point to. Why? Because in my opinion, foam rolling is an art, okay? Or using any type of self-applied myoskeletal pressure, okay, with an outside source like a ball or a bar or something like that, or even a foam roller. You need to know what you are doing, okay? And by saying that, I mean, you need to understand when you are pressing on something, what that is affecting. And what we know is that every single cell in the human body is tied together through fascia. So if you're pressing on your calf, your eyelid is going to feel it, okay? If you're pressing on your jaw, your toe is going to feel it. All right, we know this. We know this. When you understand fascia and what it truly represents, this entire post becomes baby talk, okay? And you can go through the comments and everything. There are people that are talking about how great foam rolling is. And then, this guy says when we dissected an IT band in my cadaver lab, I actually felt the tissue structure, I knew that foam rolling was BS. The same with IT band stretches. That tissue is not changing its resting tone. No way. Well, that's because you're not changing the muscle tissue. You're changing the compression that the fascia is providing surrounding the tissue. Baby talk, bro. Baby talk. Okay? You went into anatomy class and you dissected this and you looked at it and you still don't understand with what you're doing. You still don't understand what you're talking about and what you're working about. Okay? You can tell that I'm pretty passionate about this. So when we look at the meta study, all right, you can go through it if you want. A lot of scientific, they got freaking equations and that they want to sit here and try and use, okay, to explain foam rolling, all right? One of the really great aspects that I found out of this paper, I'm going to show you guys in a second. I hope that my highlights didn't go away. It did not. Okay. So he says, although Piercy et al. Did not directly investigate the physiological mechanisms of foam rolling, they speculated that post-foam rolling might enhance post-exercise recovery of dynamic performance measures via systemic biomechanical effects. These include increased levels of circulating neutrophil, smaller increases in post-exercise plasma creatine kinase, activated mechanosensory sensors that signal transcription of COX-7b and ND1, indicating that new mitochondria are being formed which presumably accelerate the healing of the muscle, and less active heat shock proteins and immune cytokines, thus reflecting less cellular stress and inflammation. Now, before I go any further, doesn't that sound like an absolutely incredible effect for your neuromuscular fascial system? Absolutely. Absolutely, in my opinion, my professional opinion, okay? Furthermore, the reduced perception of pain may positively affect the short-term recovery process of muscular function, and improved perception of muscle soreness may be critical for the restoration of exercise performance, since muscular function is impaired in the presence of muscle pain. These mechanisms will be described in more detail below, okay? And then, when we go down to the limitations, okay? Here we have, third, the methodology varied widely between the studies. For example, the majority of published studies have not standardized and or measured the applied pressure of rolling action, while only a few studies have used a kind of pressure roller apparatus to maintain a constant rolling intensity. Consequently, there may be large ranges in the pressure exerted through foam rolling. Okay? Absolutely. Absolutely. That is definitely one of the things that is going to be limited that I believe would be pretty hard to consistently study. Now, there are some people where their hips are so tight, I get them down on their glute minimus on a lacrosse ball, and even though they're trying to control the pressure, they cannot keep it on for more than 20 to 30 seconds, where I could lay there and fall asleep. So when we're looking at the health of the tissue, I tell people the health of your tissue is going to be dictated by how much pain you have when you apply pressure. All right? And there are some people that can't take pain very well, so they're not going to be able to take a lot of pressure. The effects of foam rolling or the effects of using a lacrosse ball or baseball or softball then is going to vary widely from person to person. Okay? The next thing that I tell people is consistency means everything. So I don't know how long these studies were done for, but really when I work with people, even via the computer, we are looking at, 10 to 15 sessions at the very least. And these people are doing one session a week with me, and then they're doing a session or two a day in my absence. All right? So when we are looking at opening up the tissue using any type of foam rolling, what we are looking at most importantly is everything is factored in through time. How old you are, how long you've had the pain, how active you've been, and then in order to restore the tissue, how consistent you're being, how much you're doing on a day-to-day basis. Okay? A lot of other things come into play. Your nutrition, your sleep, how much stress you're under on a day-to-day basis. How often do you move? Or are you stuck to your chair 24/7? Are you sleeping in a bed that's 15 years old? Okay? That's sunken in. That's just, putting your body in a terrible, terrible state while you're trying to rest. Okay? There are so many things that affect how foam rolling helps you that not only this study, but this post don't go into, that I feel it's just downright wrong to kind of make fun of it for a whole bunch of likes. Okay? And like I said, you can tell that this guy really wants to help people. I'm sorry, I was reading something else. You can tell that this guy really wants to help people, but, I even look at this knee pain post, okay? He's up close and personal. He's pointing to his knees, trying to get your attention. And then he goes into a full squat, kind of a full squat in pants and, shoes with a heel, all right? So we see a little bit of a butt wink when he does that. Not a big deal. Lower back rounds and whatever. But let me tell you something. I had knee pain for 14 years. When I squatted, doing this right here would have killed my knees. And he's doing it, he's telling you to do it to get your knees better. Okay? So you can get all the way down. Now, if you look at something like knees over toes guy, Ben Patrick, I feel like he would also be, this is a little bit questionable. I don't think that you should really be doing that because we want to get the knees over the toes. The reason why your knees hurt when you squat is because the fascia is tight in your quad, hamstring, adductor, IT band, maybe even the glutes and the lower back. Okay, so what Ben does is he slowly gets you into a full range of motion with your knee, effectively extending or pulling the fascia out of the quad like it's supposed to be, restoring its flexibility and mobility. All right? Doing something, okay, like this right here, not going to help. That would make my knees scream. The only way that I could squat when I had uber amounts of knee pain was all the way down to the ground, Olympic style, okay? And everybody would say that's bad for your knees. And I would say, well, I have knee pain already. This way of squatting reduces it by 60 to 70%. Okay? So what gives? Why does the science, or why whatever the experts are trying to tell me, why is that not matching up with what I feel in my body? Okay? It just never made any sense to me. So that's pretty much it for this video, guys. Like I said, I'm not trying to say that this dude's a bad person or that he doesn't have good content. I'm not trying to knock other people in the space, but when somebody's saying that he's empowering you to navigate healthcare misinformation and defeat your pain, I'm going to consider some of this stuff misinformation. Okay, this is misinformation. The got knee pain. Those are the only two that I looked at. I didn't look at anything else, so that's why I'm not saying that everything that this dude does is bad. But guys, come on, man. We just need to have better understanding and better information when it comes to what is mechanistically true in the human body. All right. And what this guy's trying to talk about is barely scratching the surface. And he's putting it out there as a God's honest truth because we found one study of a meta analysis. Okay. Kudos to you, my friend, but I can't jump on that train. All right. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you like it, hit the button, share it with people that, are interested in this stuff too. And I'll see you guys in the next one.